Some viewers, guys, get irritated when the whiskeytube world features bottles that they'll never get a chance to buy.
Right.
And the truth is, when you are really deep in the whiskey game, you're not drinking those allocated bottles on the regular.
Right, yeah, no.
You've got those budget bourbon bangers
Boom.
that you focus on. So we started to do a series about our budget bourbon bangers, and it's all about quality price ratio. So if you want to find out what this week's budget bourbon banger is, then stick around.
Well, welcome into the world famous Bourbon Real Talk here on the YouTubes. I say world famous because we do have people that tune in from all over the world.
We do.
That's really cool.
That part's true, yeah.
That's really cool. And a lot of those people's names you see on the screen right now are from all over the U.S. and the world because our Patreons are the best. And if you want to know more about the Patreon options that we have a bunch of different packages. These are just folks from the top tiers. But if you want to know more about how you can support the channel and our mission, stick around to the end of the video. We'd love to give you all the deets.
So we have a special guest in studio. Chris, introduce yourself.
Here he is.
My name is Chris Orrin. I am just a collector of bourbon that likes to drink things.
Yeah, and when I started to get into the whiskey enthusiast world, he was already an OG.
Yeah.
And so we've been hanging out for years and years, and then I became a real estate agent.
Oh, yeah.
And we're working on some charity things together. So you were over today, and I said, hey, why don't you jump in this video with us?
Absolutely.
Yeah, just had some torchies.
Yeah, we did.
Lunch.
We did have torchies. Yeah.
But I am on a diet, sadly. So
Wes
I had
was on a diet.
Salad thing,
Yeah.
which was.
And so I ate my torchies real slow right in front of his face. And I was just like, yeah, look how good this is. Oh,
yeah.
so
I
good.
think they should change the name from salads to just sads.
Sads. That's
just
fair.
take out the L. And
That's
it's
fair.
just sad, dude.
It's just sad.
It was a sad time. But, I'm getting those gains, and that's what's important.
That's what's important. Yeah. What is also important is high quality price ratio whiskey.
Absolutely.
And we did start this series off calling it bottom shelf bangers or something. And then you were like, wouldn't it be better if it's budget bourbon bangers?
Yeah.
And now every time we do it, we start doing this rubber baby bunker
bunkers
thing. It's it's hilarious. We're not good at it.
It's a nursery rhyme.
It is. Yeah, it does the whole thing. So typical disclaimer, for every inexpensive whiskey, there's a group of people who hate it, either because they drank too much of it when they were in high school, or maybe they think that it makes them look cool to be too sophisticated to the cheap stuff. I don't know what it is.
Or maybe they're just morons.
Or maybe they've got bad palates, who knows.
Yep.
So just understand that. And also, these are not supposed to be super complex. We're looking for quality price ratio. But last time we talked a lot about the trolls that had been jumping in the comments and arguing and all that stuff. And we did a whole bit where we were kind of making fun of them. And it worked. And to their credit, the trolls shut the F up and we didn't get a bunch of troll comments.
Yes.
So
the disclaimer is working.
The disclaimer's working, or at least it did this time or last time. So hopefully this time, if this whiskey is not for you, you don't have to jump in and tell people that they're wrong for liking it.
Yes.
And for the record, and we said this on the last video, if you want to give negative feedback about a whiskey, you need to talk about it in terms of your experience. You say, I don't like this whiskey because of X.
Yes.
You don't say, you should not like this whiskey, or if you like this whiskey, this is what it tells me about you. Don't do any of that stuff.
Don't do that, especially on this episode, because this whiskey is the greatest whiskey of all time. So if you do say any of those things in the comments, I will hunt you down. And I will find where you live, and I will come over, and I will force you to like this whiskey.
Exactly. So for those of you who are regular viewers of the channel, you already know what it is. If
you already know.
So Volume 1 was Wild Turkey 101. Volume 2 was Evan Williams Bottle and Bond. Volume 3 was Old Granddad, and we included both the Bottle and Bond and the 114.
Yep.
Wes, I'm going to let you announce what this week's
budget Volume 4, we saved the best for fourth for some reason. It is Knob Creek.
Knob Creek.
Yes.
Boom.
Now, Knob Creek, as you all know, if you've tuned in for any enough time to the Bourbon Real Talk, you know it's near and dear to my heart. It is hard to find a more delicious whiskey at this price point and at this proof point, especially when you get up there with those 120 proofs. Oh my goodness. They launched in 1992, the Bourbon Dark Ages, some would say. They had Blanton's to compete with at the time. Obviously, they were trying to show this premium pricing worked, and so here comes Knob Creek. I love the story of Knob Creek. It is a real creek.
It is. So basically, we were in the bourbon dark ages. People were not really buying bourbon. Blanton's had come out as an ultra premium, and other producers started to realize people are actually willing to buy bourbon if we did something special to make it, so that it wasn't just your average run-of-the-mill product. And so when Beam was looking at what they were going to do, they created a small batch series. So Blanton's was different because it was a single barrel.
Yep.
So every single release was going to taste different. Beam wasn't willing to go quite that far, but they were willing to do a small batch where there might be some variance between the batches, but they were still blending enough barrels together. But the idea was they were going to find the cherry barrels, the ones that really tasted good, and they were going to put those together. And they originally launched Knob Creek in 1992. The other small batches in the series are Booker's, Baker's, and Basil Hayden. Mm-hmm. And as you mentioned, Wes, it is actually a creek, but
Old Abe Lincoln.
Yeah. So Abraham Lincoln, and I forget this. He was born in Kentucky.
Yeah, he was.
And so Abraham Lincoln's childhood home was called Knob Creek Farm, and it's called Knob Creek Farm because it's named after the creek.
Yep.
And Abraham Lincoln almost drowned in the creek.
Yeah, it happens.
And his best friend, I think his name is Austin.
His name was Austin?
I think so.
Sweet.
He had a tree branch that he stuck down the water, and Abraham Lincoln grabbed a hold of it, and he was able to pull him out and save his life.
Thank you.
And the other interesting
Austin,
thing that I think about when I think about Knob Creek and Jim Beam is that in 2014 they were purchased by Suntory, which is a Japanese beverage company. And that was the year that I really started to get deeply involved in, whiskey collecting. And I went to Jack Daniel's, and it was just a few months after that purchase had taken place. And the tour guide was like making fun of Jim Beam being Japanese whiskey and all this stuff.
Gosh.
But we are happy to report that who happens to own the stock of the company has not affected the production at all.
No.
It's still locally made by people that have passion and have dedicated their lives to making amazing Kentucky bourbon for you all.
Absolutely. The Beam family has always been close to my heart. We are best of friends. I love those folks.
Yeah.
They don't really know me yet, but one day they will. They'll hear about my passion for their brand, and they'll reach out, and I'll probably end up being one of their spokespeople. I would imagine, like that dog for the Bush's Beans. Yeah, I'll
roll that beautiful whiskey footage.
Beam footage.
Yeah, beam footage.
That's what I'm going to do.
Roll that beautiful beam footage.
That's what I'm saying. So if you're watching, Jim, I would love to be your dog and just be yelling, roll that beautiful beam footage, because I love the Knob Creeks. Now, let's talk about this particular SKU, because there's a lot of great ones.
Yeah, there are.
Knob Creek, this is just an entry to the goodness, right? The pearly gates of heaven, if you will. Mm-hmm. This is kind of your entry drug, your marijuana of the Knob Creeks. You come on in here to the 9-year, you dip your toe in, you kind of get used to it, you enjoy it, you get used to that 100 proof, which is what the 9-year is. Mm-hmm. That 100 proof flavor, that nuttiness, that beauty that is the Beam goodness in that yeast strain, and then you kind of start exploring from there. But it's a great entry point. I mean, for $29, sometimes you can get it that sub 30 at most stores. I mean, it's hard to beat.
It is hard to beat. And it is currently a 9-year, and it was before, but they did drop the age statement from 2016 to 2019. And here locally, it's $29.69 at our Total Wine. Mm-hmm. But I know that in some markets, it's a lot more than that. And so please don't freak out and say, this isn't a budget bourbon. It's $40 where I live. It's $29.69. And for our budgets, below 30 is considered a budget bourbon for us.
And we're sorry you don't live in the great state of Texas.
That's true. That's true. If you need a realtor, I'm your guy.
You do want to move in and get cheaper bourbon.
Yeah,
I think it drinks more expensive than $30.
I think it does too. It is a 750 ml bottle, so they haven't gone to the 700 size. So that's nice. So what do you say we taste it up and give us a note?
Let's taste her up.
Let's do it.
This is my first time.
It's not even his first time today.
No, yeah, I drink Knob Creek a few times a week at least.
You get that nuttiness for sure.
Yeah. So Beam does have that classic nutty flavor.
So for me, if you were to melt down a Snickers and throw it into a bottle, that would be Knob Creek for me.
That's
a little
fair.
bit of chocolatey, a lot of the peanuts coming through, a little bit of that nougat type flavors, caramels, all of that is right there. So I immediately can pick out a Knob Creek, which I have in many blinds. We've had people try to sneak a Knob Creek in there. I'm like, that's Knob Creek.
Yeah.
Because it's like a beautiful Snickers right there.
And shout out to Wes for using the word nougat for the first time.
That is the first time.
Bourbon Real Talk
It's the first time in my life, too. So shout out to me. Beautiful new word.
What do you think, Chris? And do you drink this often?
You know, it's got a good peanut. I get a lot of peanuts from it. You know, that's the biggest thing. I like a lot of the Knob Creek, like older age statements, which you don't really find much anymore. They're harder to get. You used to be able to find a lot of picks that used to be like 18, 21 years, and you don't see them anymore. They don't exist. They're like unattainable.
Yeah, I like the single barrels that were around 14, 15.
Oh yeah.
Oh, this is delicious.
And I'll tell you, like Wild Turkey, up above 12 years, it gets super sus for me. But Beam seems to do well in some of those higher age
I would
ranges.
agree. Beam is one of the few distilleries that can do high age stuff really well. The Knob Creek 18 is one of the best 18-year-old whiskeys that's out there,
absolutely.
in my opinion, as far as bourbons go. So, what are you doing?
Oh, I'm testing my new whiskey glass that I had designed.
Why?
Well, there's a company out there that's a real Cairn, and she threatened to sue us.
Really? You don't say.
Yeah, so we had been producing some traditional tulip-shaped whiskey glasses.
Oh, yes. Uh-huh.
We never used the name.
Right, of course.
But they claimed to own the shape of the glass. And since I'm just a little guy, I couldn't fight.
Right.
But do you know what that motivated us to do, Wes?
What?
To go out and design a glass that was actually made for high-proof American spirits. So the company that had the problem with us, their glass was originally designed for low-proof Scotch whiskey.
Oh, okay.
80, 86 proof, that type of thing. And you know what I had noticed? Every time I would nose a really high-proof, high-quality spirit in the United States out of this glass, all I got was ethanol burn.
Yeah, a little burn there. I felt that.
And so we went out and we designed this glass that's actually designed for those higher-proof spirits. And I'm so confident in this glass that if anybody were to go to our website and buy one, I'm offering a money-back guarantee.
Wow.
If you get that glass to your house and you find yourself one of these traditional tulip-shaped glasses and you nose a high-proof spirit side by side and you can't tell the difference, I will gladly give you your money back.
So what you're saying is they can really stick it to the Cairn and support the little guy by going to bourbonrealtalk.com and ordering one of these with absolutely no risk. They could get their money back if they don't prefer it nosing it to the other?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And if you love small business and you like sticking it to Cairns, that's the way to go.
Stick it to Cairn. bourbonrealtalk.com.
Cheers. So if you are on your bourbon journey and you are looking for a budget bourbon banger, this should absolutely be on your shelf.
Yep.
And I would say that in public, I probably drink more Knob Creek than anything else.
Absolutely. Most steakhouses or finer dining experiences
will have this as their budget pour.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And budget pour. I was funny. We every Christmas Eve we go out to a nice dinner, our family tradition, my wife and our kids. And they've got Blanton's on there for $55 a pour. They've got Eagle Rare for $40, and then they've got Knob Creek for $13. And I'm like, just keep the Knob Creek.
Yeah, keep it fun.
I'll take doubles all night, please, until I'm done with my steak, because it's so slept on. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's really, really good whiskey. All right, so we're gonna do a giveaway.
I think we should.
We're gonna do a Knob Creek giveaway.
Heck yeah.
So do you wanna tell them what all they're gonna get?
I think we should do the 9-year, and we should do a 12.
Okay.
We should do the 18 for sure.
Boom, 18.
Do you have a single barrel?
I have a single barrel.
Okay,
that
let's do
I
a single
picked.
barrel. And how about a rye?
I have a single barrel rye that I picked.
So listen, if you win this pack, please sip the rye neat for a second, but then throw that bad boy in an old fashioned.
Pretty solid.
This whiskey was made for old fashioned.
So wait.
The single barrel rye is incredible.
How do I get in on this? I want to get on.
Well, first off, there's 5 winners.
There's 5 winners. So you
one
can be one of them.
ounce each of all of these bottles.
Yeah.
And tell them how to get in.
So it's real easy. So let me tell you, Chris, how you can get in.
I'm interested.
You need to like the video, Chris. You need to subscribe to the channel, which I'm sure you've done both of those things already.
That's done.
Ring the bell for notifications because we do giveaways on every episode, so you want to know when they come out. And then last, you want to fill out the web form that's in the description below. You'll see giveaway in big capital letters, and you'll see a link to a Google form. Just hit that. It's not a spam. It's not a virus. Just go there, put in your basic contact info, and we'll be entering you in to get the best giveaway we've ever done.
I don't know about that, but yeah, it's
the greatest. It's the greatest giveaway you can enter. You know, you go to the state fair, you try to win a car, you try to win a truck, you try to do all these things. This is the best giveaway of all time.
Ooh. Okay, Wes is excited.
I'm entering it twice. Actually.
Yeah, if
aliases and all.
If you like this content, you want to think about supporting the channel, there's 3 ways. We have a Patreon, which we mentioned at the beginning. Yep. We've got a lot of member benefits and different price points. You can also support us by purchasing merchandise on the channel. And we've got curated things that are going to solve some whiskey problems for you. And then lastly, I am a residential real estate agent in the Houston and Dallas metro area. And if you want information about any of the 3 ways you can support, those are in the video description below with the giveaway link. So if this is your first time tuning into the channel, we want to tell you why we do all of this. And it's to create community and connection. And I lost a loved one to suicide, and in the aftermath, I was getting more involved in whiskey, and I saw how whiskey was creating community and bringing people together, and sometimes even people that wouldn't have naturally formed connection with one another because they had different ideological views. And I thought, man, if whiskey's that powerful, maybe I can help get you at home connected to whiskey, and whiskey will do the rest of the job and get you connected to others. Yep. And we ended up forming our own forum because there are trolls that are out there in some of the forums that are hateful and they say mean things online. And we have our own forum. It's called Bourbon Real Talk Community. It's free. It's Facebook-based. You can go there. Lots of great things going on. We even parlayed that into a suicide prevention nonprofit called livestayproject.org, all administered inside of the Bourbon Real Talk family. And we also decided to add a sign-off to all of our episodes to encourage all of you out there, because we figured if those people can show hate to a stranger online, there's nothing that keeps us from showing love to a stranger online. Yep. And that's why we end every episode the same way, and that's this. If you woke up this morning and you're unsure whether or not anyone loved you, just know that we love you. We'll see you next time on Bourbon Real Talk.
Beautiful.
Cheers.
Cheers, guys.
All right. Huge knob. Big knob in this one. Big knob and spinning cheese. We be big knobbing on Billy G's.
Big knobbing up in
my seat, and then some other stuff, and knob for me. Oh, there you go. That's good. That's good.
Yeah, see? We wanksters.
We are wanksters.
Remember that term?
Studio gangsters. Yeah, wanksters. Studio gangsters.
I thought the wanksters was white gangsters.
I thought it was too.
In the comments, let us know. Is it a gangster, a white gangster, or a studio gangster?
Well, it was in.
I may be wrong. I grew up in Indiana.
Learning something new every day.
About gangsters.
Yeah. If you want to know hip hop lore, I'm your guy.
There's 2 things that Randy knows a lot about: whiskey and rap music.
That's true.
It's something you wouldn't expect too.
And J. Cole, if you're listening to this by some weird chance, hit me up, bro.
He's one of our biggest fans.
I would hope so.